At my brother's birthday, I brought a gift. My mom saw me come in and said loudly, "Oh, you weren't on the guest list? It must have been a mistake." Everyone looked at me, simply put the gift on the counter and left. Uploaded a video I've been holding on to for 2 years. My phone blew up 10 minutes later. My mom called 9 times and my dad sent a single final text. "Please delete it. We need to talk." Without a second thought, I realized my biggest regret wasn't even going to the party. It was that I'd actually made the effort. I'd spent hours looking for this gift. A signed, authenticated jersey for several $100 from the team Travis had loved since we were kids. It wasn't a last-minute Amazon purchase. I pulled strings and called a contact I hadn't talked to in years. I even paid extra for rush shipping so it would get here in time. I wrapped it myself that morning with no card, just a perfect fold on the paper and a clean box. It was stupid. I should have known better. I hadn't spoken to my brother since the mortgage issue. He and his girlfriend wanted to buy a condo, but they couldn't qualify for the loan on their own. So they asked me to co-sign, not lend, but co-sign to tie my name and credit to their mess. So when I said no, they both freaked out. It turned into a shouting match, and that was the last time we spoke, 2 months ago. They'd been living with my parents ever since. So the way my mom spoke, you would have thought I'd kicked them out of a homeless shelter. She acted like I'd ruined their lives. Never mind the $2,200 I gave my dad last year and told him not to repay. Or the time I helped them out when the water heater broke. Or all the groceries and electric bills I paid for, the 1,000 little things they seemed to forget it. All vanished the second I said, "Sorry, I can't help this time." But even after all that, I still showed up. I'm not sure why. I guess I thought it was the right thing to do. Family and all that. My dad had texted me the address, saying Travis wouldn't mind if I dropped by. Not "you're invited," just "you can drop by." So I parked a few houses away and walked in holding the gift, as if it actually meant something. The place was packed with people I hadn't seen in years. Everyone was smiling, drinking, and laughing, with loud music playing. It felt like a true celebration, and my brother was at the center of it all with a beer in his hand. I took a step inside, and that's when it happened. My mom saw me from across the room, looked directly at me, and said it louder than necessary. "Oh, you weren't on the guest list. Must have been a mistake." The silence that followed didn't last long, maybe 3 seconds, but it felt like a full minute. Everyone turned to look. Some laughed awkwardly. Travis smirked, and a few just stared, confused. I didn't say a word. I walked into the kitchen, set the gift next to the cake, and went straight out the front door. That was the precise moment the decision was locked in. No second thoughts, no guilt. Not this time. Revenge was happening. I wasn't going to be the quiet one anymore. Back in my car, I opened my cloud folder. There it was, a 37-second video, untouched, since the day I saved it. Travis's old roommate had sent it to me 2 years ago. One night, he got drunk and started complaining, telling me he had dirt on my brother. I didn't ask for it, but he sent it anyway. And there was Travis, half naked on a couch, making out with some girl who wasn't his wife. The video was grainy, but clear enough. It wasn't recent, but it wasn't old enough to be innocent either. I never said anything or showed it to anyone until now. I uploaded it to a private link with no hashtags or comments, just one line: "Happy birthday." Then I texted the link directly to his wife. My phone exploded 10 minutes later. 3 missed calls from my mom, 2 from Travis, then another and another. My dad called once, then sent a message: "Please delete it, we need to talk." And then, from Travis's wife, "We need to talk now." I didn't respond to anyone. I just watched the messages come in. They thought they could keep kicking me without ever getting kicked back. They believed everything I did for them came at no cost. That I would always be the one to show up, smile, and swallow it. Not anymore. this was just the beginning. I didn't drive straight home. I kept going past familiar neighborhoods and onto roads I hadn't driven in years. The windows were down, the engine humming, and there was no music. I needed the quiet night. Phone buzzed almost constantly in the passenger seat, the screen lighting up repeatedly until I finally just turned it off. What surprised me most wasn't that they were angry, but how quickly the switch flipped from smug silence inside that house to full-blown panic. The second they realized I wasn't bluffing, they were used to me being the quiet one, the one who always forgave. I could feel the shift coming, and it felt good. Around 11:30 p.m., I ended up at a cheap diner I remembered from years ago. It was still open 24 hours. I ordered coffee, but never touched it. I just kept replaying the moment in the kitchen. My hand placing the gift down next to the cake. My back turned as the whole room stared. They thought they had gotten away with it again, that they could humiliate me for fun and I would just take it. They had no idea what I was sitting on. At 1:22 a.m., I connected to the diner's Wi-Fi, opened my laptop, and checked the private link. The view count had passed 180. I hadn't made it public. I had only sent it directly to Emily, but someone had clearly shared it. I didn't care if it was her or someone she showed it to. It had done what I wanted. The secret was no longer a secret. Minutes later, an email came to my work account. "You broke up my family. I hope it was worth it." There was no greeting, no name, but I knew it was her. Emily, Travis's wife, the only person in the family who had ever been decent to me. I stared at her sentence for a long time, long enough for the coffee to get cold. I wasn't sure what to feel, but I didn't regret it. She deserved the truth. Travis never deserved her. 3 hours passed and I started driving again, but this time I didn't go far, just around town. By the time I got back to my apartment at 4:30 a.m., I finally turned my phone back on. There were 17 missed calls, 8 from Travis, 4 from Mom, 3 from Dad, and 2 from unknown numbers. I had voicemails, but I didn't bother listening. However, there was one message that made me pause, from Emily. I always wondered. Said I was paranoid. He made me feel crazy. I stared at it for a while before another one came through. I left, and with my sisters. There was no anger, no drama, just the quiet aftermath of a life that had been cleanly snapped in half. Then came a text from Dad. "You're going to fix this." That was it. No, "Are you okay?" Or "What happened?" Just a command. As if I was the one who had ruined everything. As if I hadn't been pulling this family up from the dirt for years while they kicked me in the ribs. I called him. He answered on the first ring. The voice on the other end wasn't shaken, it was cold. "This was a joke," he said. "You're blowing up your own family over nothing." Didn't even respond. He kept going. "She's emotional. She'll get over it. Just take it down now." This doesn't need to go further. I told him I wasn't deleting anything. He was quiet for a second, then said something that stuck with me in the worst way. "You've always been the safe one, the quiet one. Now you want to act like some hero." He didn't get it. None of them did. This wasn't about being a hero. It was about finally standing up while they were still in the middle of kicking me. He hung up when I didn't answer. The next day, my inbox lit up again. This time, it wasn't from Emily. It was from Travis. Just one line. "You'll regret this." That's when I smiled, because for once, he was the one who was afraid. I didn't respond to Travis's text. I didn't have to. By the time I left for work Monday morning, half of his life had already started to crumble. Emily hadn't just left. She took her things and sent a picture of the empty drawers, a shot of the ring on the counter. No note, just the photo. From what a mutual friend told me, she wasn't coming back. But I knew Travis. He wasn't the type to lie down and take a hit. He was going to swing back. It started small. That week, my mom sent a group text to our extended family, something vague and dramatic. Like, "Please pray for our family during this difficult time." A few cousins reached out, confused. I ignored them. Then one of them, Danny, called me directly. I picked up. He said, "My mom told everyone you had a breakdown, that you were unstable, that you were lashing out because you were bitter and lonely. She told them Emily left Travis because of emotional abuse and that you twisted some old footage to make it look like he cheated." I laughed out loud when I heard that. Emotional abuse from Emily. She wouldn't yell at someone for stealing her car. That's when I knew this wasn't over. They weren't going to apologize. They were going to destroy my name to save his. Then came the weird calls at work. One was from an anonymous number asking if our company does background checks on employees. Internet behavior. Another claimed I had sent inappropriate content to a married woman. HR got involved, had to sit in a tiny conference room and explain that someone from my personal life was trying to smear me. Luckily, they believed me. But the warning was clear. This was crossing a line that could mess with my career. So, I escalated. I sent another message to Emily. It wasn't a video. It's just a screenshot of Travis's Tinder profile, which was still active, still matching, still swiping. She replied instantly, "I screenshotted this too. Thank you." I didn't hear from her again after that, but I didn't need to. I knew she was done playing the quiet wife. I had just reminded her who she married. That Friday night, it happened. Someone keyed my car. Deep, ugly scratches on every panel along the driver's side. My first guess was Travis, but he wouldn't do it himself. He'd get one of his idiot friends, who still thought loyalty meant vandalism. I filed a police report and attached everything. Travis's threats, the timeline, the texts. I didn't even want anyone arrested. I just wanted to record. Then I got the call. My dad again. "You're ruining this family." I didn't respond. "You're not getting another dollar from me?" I wanted to laugh. He hadn't given me a dime since I was 17. So I finally said it. "That's fine, 'cause starting now, you're not getting another one from me either." He paused as if he didn't understand, so I explained. The money for the car repair I paid for last year. The 3 months of groceries when Mom was sick. The $2,200 I gave him with no expectation of it being returned. Gone, forgotten. Well, now I remembered, and it was going to stay remembered. That was the last time we spoke. But I had one more move left, something they wouldn't expect. I started gathering every receipt, every transfer, every email, and every message where they asked for help. I was all going into a file because if they wanted to play dirty, they were about to see how far I could go. I wasn't planning on burning everything down all at once. I wanted them to squirm, not explode. I wanted the silence between us to stretch out long and sharp, like a wire under tension. But they made the first move again. They wanted it scorched. Fine dot by Monday morning. I had gathered everything. Bank statements, PayPal records, Venmo transfers, text messages, emails, and even some old voicemails. I organized every dime I had sent them into categories utilities. Emergencies, rent coverages, birthday gifts, temporary loans that were never temporary, and the ones where I was dumb enough to say, "Don't worry about it." I made a folder labeled Unpaid Debts, Family. I didn't know yet what I would do with it, but just building it gave me a strange calm. It was like seeing the ledger of my patients. That afternoon, I was called into my manager's office. HR was waiting. They had received a formal complaint, anonymous, but very specific. It accused me of cyber harassment, personal misconduct, and digital manipulation of private media for the purpose of emotional harm. They used words like concerning, sensitive, and reputation risk. I didn't need to ask where it came from. It was clear they weren't done with me. This wasn't about a video anymore. They were trying to take everything: the job, the credibility, the future. The one thing I had built without asking anyone in that family for help. I was placed on leave, pending review, so I escalated. I opened my inbox and drafted an email. I attached a document titled Summary of Loans and Unrepaid Financial Support. It was itemized, detailed, and included screenshots with timestamps. I sent it to my father, CC'd my mother, and BCC'd my lawyer. It was no longer just a threat. I had scheduled a consultation for Friday morning. The subject line was simple: Notice of financial action pending. Exactly 23 minutes later, my phone rang. It was my mom. No hello, no breath, just, "You wouldn't do this. You wouldn't sue your own father." I didn't answer right away. I let her fill the silence with all the things I expected: how this was hurting the family, how I was overreacting, how I was selfish. Then she said something I hadn't heard from her in a long time. "Fine, do what you have to do. Just know we're done." I ended the call without saying a word. I thought that would be the end of it for the night. I was wrong. Around 10:40 p.m., someone knocked on my apartment door. I looked through the peephole, and for a second, I actually thought I was dreaming. It was Emily. She was standing there holding a small black USB drive. No bag, no expression, no words, just the drive. She handed it to me. "I'm not trying to drag this out, but I found this in Travis's desk, hidden under some fake tax folders. I think you should hear what's on it." And then she left. I sat there for an hour before plugging it in. There were several audio files dated. Over the last year, it took me a minute to understand what they were: secret recordings, voice memos. Travis had been recording conversations with my parents. Most were garbage arguments, gossip, nonsense. But one clip stopped me cold. My mom's voice. "She's not family. She's a wallet with a face." Travis laughed. "She says no once, and suddenly she thinks we owe her something." Then my dad chimed in. "Don't worry. Let her sulk. She'll come crawling back like always. She doesn't have anyone else." I sat in my kitchen listening to that loop 3 times. Then I created a new folder on my desktop: Evidence for Legal Use. Because this wasn't about revenge anymore. This was about cutting them off in a way they could never recover from. Friday morning. I walked into the lawyer's office with a flash drive in my pocket and the calm of someone who had stopped caring about the consequences. I wasn't there to throw punches. I was there to draw a line. The consultation didn't take long. I showed him the folder, the transfers, the voice recordings. His reaction was exactly what I expected. "You have enough here to file a civil claim easily." He asked if I wanted to sue them all or just my father. I said I'd start with my father. The $2,200 was more than enough to make it real. It wasn't about the money. It was about setting the tone. I sent a formal letter that evening, notice of legal intent by certified mail. It would land in their mailbox Monday morning. Figured they'd call or show up or at least scream into my voicemail again. But they didn't. That silence was louder than anything they had said before. Then Sunday evening, the final fracture hit. Travis's friend Jeremy, the same guy who used to tag along everywhere and post obnoxious pictures of their squad, messaged me. Just a link, no message. I clicked it. It was a screen recording of a private Instagram story. It showed Travis pacing outside a bar, shouting into his phone, drunk. The audio was garbage, but you could still hear pieces. "She famming left me because of that coward sister of mine. She ruined my life. I'll end her job. I swear to God." It wasn't even about Emily anymore. It wasn't about me or the video or the party. It was about control. And Travis didn't have it anymore. That scared him. By Monday afternoon, my dad texted me again. "You've made your point. Call it off." I didn't answer. Then he called. I didn't pick up. Then a second text. "We'll go to court if that's what you want." I responded with a screenshot of the certified mail receipt and nothing else. That night, Travis called me. I let it ring out. Then he sent a voice message, 30 seconds of profanity and threats. At the end, he said something that made my hands go cold. "You think you've won? You think this is over?" So, I took the USB drive, the printouts, the timeline, and filed the official suit, Small claims, clean, direct, documented. A week later, they were served. That was the last time anyone in my family spoke to me. No texts, no voicemails, no weird emails, no threats, just silence, like the last breath after a scream. I walked into my apartment that night, and for the first time in months, I slept. It's been a little over 5 months since the court hearing. Long enough for the dust to settle, but not long enough for the air to feel clean. I won, technically. The judge ruled in my favor. My dad was ordered to repay the $2,200. He never did. Not a cent. But that was never really the point. The point was drawing a line, making it clear that I wasn't their backup plan anymore. Not their silent sponsor, not their safety net. I wanted them to know I was done playing my role in their story. The lawsuit made headlines, at least within the family. A cousin texted me after the ruling and said, "I can't believe you really did it." I didn't reply. I've heard almost nothing since. Emily finalized the divorce 2 months ago, a clean break. She moved to Colorado to live with her sister and took a job at a nonprofit. She sent me one last email, just a quiet, measured thank you. She said if I hadn't sent that video, she'd probably still be stuck trying to fix something that never wanted to be fixed. I told her she didn't owe me anything, but I was glad she got out. I mean, that was the last time we talked. I haven't seen or heard from my parents since the court papers were delivered. No calls, no apologies, no fake attempts at reconciliation. My mom deleted me from her Facebook without a word. My dad never answered the lawyer's follow-ups. They just disappeared as if I had never existed to them in the first place. Every once in a while, I still get updates about Travis, not directly, just through mutual friends or random tags I'm still connected to. He's alone now, drinking more, jobless. Last I heard, his girlfriend left. He's living in the basement again, pretending everything's fine. Still telling people I've ruined his marriage with some ancient video. I don't even bother defending myself anymore. Let them say whatever they want. The people who matter know the truth. A few weeks ago, I found that birthday gift, the signed jersey I left on the kitchen counter that night. Someone had stuffed it in a plastic bag and left it on my doorstep. No note, no message, just a silent return as if it had never happened. I almost laughed. They couldn't throw it out, couldn't burn it, but they didn't want it either. It was too real, too much of a reminder. So I took it inside and put it in a drawer. I don't know why I kept it. Maybe because it's the last thing I'll ever give them. Now, we don't talk. We don't see each other. It's no birthdays, no holidays, nothing. And it's strange because I thought it would hurt more. I thought I'd miss them, but I don't. Not really. I miss the idea of what family was supposed to be, not what mine actually was. We're like ships at sea now, drifting, not lost, just apart. No lights, no contact, no course that will ever bring us back together. And I've made peace with that because sometimes cutting ties isn't cruel. Survival. It's been nearly a year now. Life is quiet. The kind of quiet you only realize you need after you finally get it. I moved last month to a different city, a smaller place with less clutter. I didn't tell anyone from the old life. I changed my number, left no forwarding. Address just disconnected cleanly. But a few weeks ago, I got a message through my work email from a name I didn't recognize right away. Linda P. I almost deleted it as spam until I read the first line. I think you should know your father's in the hospital. It was from someone at the small community center where he occasionally volunteered. At least when he wanted people to think he was doing something useful. The message said he'd collapsed, some kind of stroke. Stable now, but it looked bad. I stared at the email for almost an hour. Then I closed my laptop and went on with my day. 3 days later, another message came, this time from a cousin I hadn't spoken to in years. They're asking if you're coming to see him. Your mom's been sitting by his side. They say he might not wake up. I didn't reply. It wasn't bitterness. I didn't feel hate. I just felt done. The story had already ended for me. They turned the page a long time ago, and I had already closed. The book. Then last week, the final unexpected turn came. A letter, real paper, no return address. Inside was a check. No note, just that. I sat down and laughed. One of those hollow, confused laughs you can't explain. I didn't cash it. I just stared at it for a while, then stuck it in a drawer right next to that stupid jersey. I don't know who sent it, my father, my mother, someone trying to tie up a thread before the end. But it didn't change anything, 'cause the truth is, closure doesn't come from the people who hurt you finally making it right. It comes when you stop waiting for them to. I don't know if my dad's still in that hospital bed. I haven't checked, okay? Maybe he's awake. Maybe he isn't. Maybe he regrets it. Or maybe he's still convinced I was the villain. It doesn't matter anymore. What I've learned is that sometimes the most painful things are the things that don't ever resolve. They just fade slowly, quietly, until one day you'll realize you haven't thought about them in weeks. It's what happened to us. We didn't explode. We didn't reconcile. We just drifted like ships in the dark. I never turned on my light.